What's up, Soul Family? Coming at you with another collective reading. This one's gonna be on. We have Butterfly with A Change for the Better. If you're interested in a one-on-one reading, you can do so by directly messaging me with the link in the bio. The first reading will be $35 for 20 minutes. You can ask me whatever questions you want, or I can simply see what comes out. If it doesn't resonate, then I'll simply refund you. Now, that being said, let's see what this change is about, and let's get into it from there. So I'll pull like 3 tea leaves. So we have Bow, which is you are highly thought of. Mountain, this one's been coming out a lot. Major challenge to overcome. Then we have Boat, which is money or property through an inheritance, winning, or windfall. So I feel like this is kind of clear. I think it's pointing towards, obviously, the change that's happening being financial and there being a really big shift. And I think in addition to that, I think it's also you starting to value yourself more, because the second card that came out was Bow, which is you are highly thought of, which makes me think like if there's a change that's needed and we're asking what the change is, then maybe it's needing to embody that more and know that more. And I think over time, once we start to really believe it, reality starts to reflect that out. We don't always have to, like, I think that happens over time. Like, and I don't think that necessarily we have to have, like, I think we can have self-worth, and I think we can still continually find out ways that is then displayed through reality. Like, you can love yourself, but then you can still always find ways to take care of yourself better. You can still find ways to show that self-love. And reality, of course, over time starts to show that back. Like, over time, I've started to do little things, like I've started doing skincare routines. I've started buying perfume. I've started doing things with my hair. Like, there's so many little things that over time you start to put effort and intention towards that I think really help build yourself up. And it's not as if, again, we don't do some of these things like passively, like, we always take care of our hair. We always do like these little things. But I mean, like, really having a period of like, okay, investing and finding out like what really works well for you. Not everybody really gets to the point of wanting to experiment or experience stuff like that. But what I'm getting at is there are countless ways to continue embodying self-love, especially as we go down the path more and more. And that makes a big difference. Nicki Minaj said that one time, like, if I accepted the pickles, then I'd be sitting here doing commercials for pickle juice. And it's sometimes about us continuing to define boundaries on what we will and what we won't do. And that then allows the reality to kind of reflect things back to us. And I think a lot of times it can be very difficult on the mind. It's not always easy to start shifting into a new identity or having a new change or shifting the way that you're experiencing things, especially if it's a long overdue change. It could be something that a lot of energy and momentum has built up behind, which can then almost make the change come in a way that could be almost stressful in certain ways. But it's not always necessarily a bad thing. And then exactly with the change comes like new opportunities, new experiences. And the other card was, money coming in through windfall or through an inheritance or through something along those lines. So this further confirms that as you continue to dive inward and as you continue to shift and change, that opportunities are just going to fly your way. And maybe you've been struggling financially, especially since the mountain card pointed towards like there being some kind of challenge that you're overcoming. And maybe that is what the change is. It's like the change in money is allowing you to overcome like whatever problems that there are. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune also points towards like us going through shifts, cycles, and how we navigate them. Many times it goes through us like learning chapters or closing out chapters. Many times if it comes up, it can point towards us closing out many chapters rapidly. So maybe we are leveling up in this area, leveling up in that area, putting effort into all these different things. And it's all like it's like kind of like when you're in a video game and like there's different like little attributes you can level up. It's like maybe you are like leveling up all these different aspects of yourselves or like little skills piece by piece. So it's like you're closing out these chapters, you're gaining experience, and then you're allowing yourself to then become, because the thing is as well, a lot of manifestation is embodiment. And I find it almost impossible to embody something that you are simply not. So the process of embodiment is then becoming and acting different, doing different, making different decisions, doing different things that will then allow different things to pop into your experience. And again, sometimes It's something as literally as simple as a meditation that will then remove a blockage or something along those lines. But sometimes there are deeper levels of inner work that need to be done to allow experiences to pop into well, your experience. Like, if there is a lot of resistance, then there are a lot of times there is a lot of times inner work correlated to whatever there is resistance in. And then we have the Eight of Wands with I think this is the Knight of Wands, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of times we tend to feel stuck, but I think the biggest thing is just taking a step forward and keep on moving, and not like letting what we perceive to be stagnancy to actually keep us stagnant. Sometimes it's really just continuing to do what you would do, like making a step forward in like whatever direction that you need to, or whatever you want, or as far as like whatever you're trying to manifest or create. Like the wands are all about like things that we're passionate about, things that we're trying to bring into the physical reality, things that are like we're trying to like align to energetically to a certain degree. So if you're feeling stuck and stagnant, then continue to head in the direction of things that you really like, and things that really light you up, and things that really fuel you. I feel like that's a really underrated thing, but the more I've continued to go towards the things that I love, I mean, I found stuff like the Avatar tarot deck, you know what I mean? Like I love, the metaphysical, and I also love, nerdy things. And I have like a Sonic the Hedgehog deck, I have a DC deck, I have a Marvel deck. So sometimes when we allow ourselves to go towards the things that we love, reality, not sometimes, that's really how reality just unfolds for us. It's directly correlated to how we are interacting with it. So when we go towards the things that we love, even if it seems like unconventional, you'd be so surprised how many people are able to make full-blown businesses off of, merchandise for these different things. Like how many TikTok shell I can't speak today. How many sellers on TikTok are out there from like, they could be either third party sellers, or maybe they're like brand ambassadors, or maybe they're working directly like, like with Nintendo or Disney or whatever else, and they're selling these things, or even things that they drew themselves. I've seen artists on here make beautiful paintings and stuff like that, and be able to use this as a modality to get their art out. So you never know, like by following what you are passionate about, like what doors are going to open for you as you continue to do such. Especially if sometimes all you need to do is just continue to take that next step, versus, wondering all these things about like how it's not going to work out. Just continue worrying about like what you can do to make it work out. And it's funny because this is on the bottom of the deck just now, and then I started shuffling. That's like one of my favorite things about tarot. If a card's meant to come out, it's gonna come out. So the Empress again is, and then pointing back to what I was saying earlier, the Empress to me is all about self-care and investing in yourself and putting time and energy into yourself to then allow this like what you're trying to manifest to come back to you. It's like the more you value yourself, the more you put that intention and focus inward, then it reflects outward. It's like the less you start to settle for, the less you want to deal with. The things that you would prior put up with, you just don't. And then it allows other doors to come in. If you're too busy entertaining crap, then you're not always going to have the energy or the ability to get geared towards entertaining better things. It's sometimes like the energy of like, there have been people who have the belief that, oh, all, men or all women are horrible partners. So like I've heard both sides of the spectrum, people say that. So then they experience nothing but like just horrible connections. And instead of even allowing themselves to simply take a step back and then maybe, you know, discern who they're picking out a little bit better, they just give up, assume that everybody's going to cheat, or everybody's going to do this, or everybody's going to do that, and then they just settle, basically, versus, putting up strong boundaries and then seeking out better. It's like there are different examples that point towards what you might be saying to be completely incorrect, but we don't always look for that. Sometimes we look for confirmation bias. And with the magician, we always have the capacity to create like whatever reality we want. It's just a matter of sometimes letting go of like limiting belief systems and letting go of like the old preconceived notions that we've been operating on. There are people who say like, I'm never going to find love, I'm never going to find love, and it doesn't matter what I tell them, they're just like, nope, never going to happen, it's never going to happen. So therefore they put themselves into that experience and that reality, and then line themselves up with experiences that match that. And it's not always a conscious thing, but it is something to be mindful of, especially when we, are the ones who are drawing in these experiences and creating reality down to a subconscious degree. But that being said, Peace and blessings, you guys, and I'll catch you in the next reading.